Hey everyone, it's Jenny from Homestead Corner, and today we are checking out a couple of Dollar Tree items, the Fancy Heat and the Quinoa. So let's check them out and see how they are. To use the Fancy Heat to cook the quinoa. Got to see if it works. Make sure. I have not used the Fancy Heat before. I just bought these in the last Dollar Tree haul I did. I finally found them, but I wanted to check them out. I know a lot of people are concerned about cooking outside, especially if you live in a heavily populated area. If this works, it would be great inside. So I figured I would try it inside. Outside, obviously a small flame is going to be, it's going to take longer to heat if there's any wind, anything like that. So I just figured, let's try it in the house because it's probably where most people would use it. And so I'm just going to set it in a little pan in case there are any drips or anything like that. I don't want to make a disaster or light anything on fire. So I just have a little pan, and you're going to need something that's going to stabilize your pot. You could put a grate just across the pan if your pan is high enough. My problem is my sides are not quite high enough for this Fancy Heat. So once I take this off, it's all wobbly and crazy. So you want to make sure that you stabilize this grate. These little 4-ounce mason jars, I have tons of this stuff. So I'm just going to stick them one in each corner away from the flame. And then I can just set my grate right on top, and it's got just a tiny bit of clearance. It's not too high. It's still going to get nice and hot on the pan, but it's not quite touching it. It's just above it. Let's see if you can see this. It's just a tiny little bit under there. 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. If you get this too high with a rack, then it's just going to take longer to cook it if it will come to a boil. So we are going to light up our Fancy Heat. Kind of little wick right in there. These are only about half full, these cans. It's not very full. So we're just going to, we get a little flame there. Let's get going. And I'm going to put my rack right on top so I can put my pan on. And then I just have a small pan. I'm going to do just a 1/4 cup of the quinoa, so I need 2 cups of water, and we're just going to put this on here and see if we can get this up to a boil. Hopefully we can. Okay, so I've got a 1/4 cup of quinoa measured out from our Dollar Tree quinoa, and I'm just going to put it in a little strainer, and we're going to just give it a really good rinse in case there's anything on it. A nice little rinse. There's not a whole lot here, so you can see a little bit of stuff coming out. I like to make sure that it's running clear, the water. There we go. All right, we've got this all ready, and once our water is boiling, we're going to put this stuff in there. Okay, so we are at about 10 minutes of this water on top of the Fancy Heat, and it is still not boiling. It is getting warm, but it's taken a while, definitely, and I'll bring you back once we hit a boil. Okay, so this water is hot, definitely hot. You stick your finger in it, it's hot. It's very close to a boil, but it's not boiling. I mean, this is 1 can of Fancy Heat. Maybe if you had 2 cans of Fancy Heat, That might work. I have another one here, but with one can, I cannot get a boil in 35 minutes. It's hot and steamy, but perfect for heating up your soups, I would say. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the electric stove so I can actually cook the quinoa and we can see if it's any good. So this is still going, it's just not boiling. And it's steamy and hot, but that's about it. So I'm gonna get this on a burner. Okay, so we have got the water up to a boil, and we're just gonna put our quinoa in here. Once we get it to a boil, we're gonna let it simmer for 12 to 15 minutes till it's nice and soft. Okay, so we got the quinoa all cooked, and I have added just a little bit of adobo and pepper because that's how I like it. And let's give it a try. I love that adobo seasoning. It's the best. But this is really good. I would definitely buy more of these from the Dollar Tree. It's a 6-ounce package for $1. It really is a good deal for quinoa, and we really like it. I like to add vegetables to it. You can use it in stir fries. You can use it for tons of stuff the way you would use rice, except it's just a little bit different, and it's delicious. It's similar texture and flavor. There's not tons of flavor in it, so adding it to other things is great. Throwing a handful in soups, things like that. And this Dollar Tree brand is actually not. So as far as the Fancy Heat goes, I couldn't get water to boil on it. This would be good if you wanted to heat up some soup or SpaghettiOs or something like that. You just want to get it hot. I couldn't get a boil on water in 35 minutes, so I wouldn't count on it for that. But if you have it, it will definitely heat stuff up, and it does make it hot enough so it's like steamy, but not quite a boil. So I won't be buying any more of these for myself personally because they just are not what I need. So and as far as the quinoa goes, the golden quinoa, Tiny Hero from the Dollar Tree, I definitely will be buying more of this. It's got good flavor. Just make sure you give it a good rinse, and yummy, yummy. And it's super good for you. It is it's high in protein, 6 grams per serving, almost as much as beans, which is wonderful. So I would definitely, if you don't have a lot of quinoa in your storage, this is going to last like rice or any of those grains. It is going to last in your pantry. So it's a good extra to have. Mix up that amount of food in your pantry. It gives you a much wider variety, and you can really change things up with just one ingredient. Mix it, match it, and all that stuff. And that's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.